in the hearing. So what happens with ONGO is as a digital enabler, we ensure that there is a successful business digital transformation for the business. And when I say successful digital transformation, it needs to be on time, which is the rapid solution delivery, which is very important. Rapid go-to-market is the key focus out here. The second thing is being rapid at the same time. Capital expense, a reduced capital expense or negligible capital expense is a very important story for any startup or any business for that matter. Third thing is, of course, zero technical fuss. Though we talk about CTOs, we talk about technology, we talk about all this cloud infrastructure and all, if we get into the right business, like from a business standpoint, when we are doing business, technology should be an enabler, and that's it. So we bring in all the three aspects to the business: rapid solution delivery, rapid go-to-market. Second thing being negligible capital expenditure for the business, and third thing being your zero technology first. We bring in these three, and we enable digital transformation to the business. Coming back to the business model of ONGO, we are very much in line with the cloud infrastructure providers' business model. We call it as pay as you go, or in other words, customized software as a service. Or, it's basically technology on rent. So we provide that as a business model so that digital adoption should not be a blockage because of your financial capital expenditure. Same is the intent of cloud infrastructure also. Apart from you purchasing the heavy infrastructure and ensuring that the capital expenditure being drowned in the infrastructure, cloud is the next way to go, where you have apart from capital expenditure, you have an operational expenditure. So these are the aspects where ONGO relates itself to a cloud. And as a solution provider, we combine these two aspects of infrastructure as a service, technology as a service, and deliver the complete package to a business on an operational expenditure model. So that is on the business side of it. Coming back to the cloud, our business is in line towards a cloud business model itself. So the journey is togetherness. But there are quite a few challenges, because as I mentioned to you, last year we did around 750 odd implementations, customizations, and 750 odd customers being enabled. This throws a different challenge at us. The first challenge is, of course, maintenance of it. Right from the deployment. Deployment itself is a challenge because 750 odd customers having continuous deployments, having snapshot-based deployments. This needs a one-click deployment kind of model. We don't want to take time for, businesses cannot afford to have a downtime. So one-click deployments do come big handy for ONGO. Even for the small and medium business, we cannot afford to spend a lot of time in terms of just deployment. So it has to be a one-click deployment. Second thing, as he was mentioning, scalability is a perspective. People always look at scalability is like growing from A to B, but it's not always growing. It is always about the right infrastructure at the right time. As the business grows or the demand grows, server infrastructure has to grow. What happens with infrastructure is you either grow horizontally, either grow vertically, but what is right at that point of time for the business has to be, infrastructure-wise, it has to be enabled. So scalability is not only going up, scalability is also bringing the right resources to the business at the right times. The biggest challenge again for a lot of businesses which we face is this scalability, making the servers up, servers down. If it is a manual intervention, it is like whether you're spending on infrastructure or you're spending on managed resources. So scalability with a dynamic model where it automatically scales up based on the demand, it automatically scales down based on the demand. So this is a very important aspect of we protecting our interest of our customers. Customers comes to us and say, hey, just deploy it. They don't know what it is, but we deploy it on the right infrastructure, right modeling, saying that hey, based on your growth, servers will be horizontally or vertically scaled. Based on the demand, it will be scaling down. It attracts cost as well. If there are CFOs out here, this attracts the cost component or prices of the service. Pay-as-you-go model will help you in terms of controlling the cost based on the demand. This is on the not only on this, on the security aspects. Our customers are geographically scaled, different geographies. Our customers are categorically scaled. We are category agnostic framework, so we have businesses coming from fintech to health tech, healthcare to a food tech delivery, and so on. Big list of customer categorization is there as with ONGO. What happens with this is security has to be defined based on a geographical rules, rule of land primarily. If a business wants to expand themselves to European Union or for example UK focused businesses, they definitely have to follow a GDPR complex. Security is not always about hey, my data is secure or not, or my APIs are secure, so on and so forth. Is it compliant with the rule of land? The second thing is it compliant with the category of business we are doing? Say for example, if you're talking about healthcare, it has to be HIPAA compliant. If you're talking about insurance tech, a big list of compliances too. So like this, every geography demands security and compliances. Every category demands security and compliances, and these changes dynamically. Again, as a business unit, as a tech provider, we believe in the cloud infrastructure which has all these components embedded in it, so that we will not be worried about it. We will go for the cloud readiness on these security aspects, these scalability aspects. Of course, with the relationship, we have one-click deployments being enabled for our teams. So these are the aspects of which we definitely look for the cloud. And thanks to Alibaba, which provides all that to us. Thank you very much.
Thanks, boss. The aspect of cloud with regards to the operational cost being very, very important. De-risking the growth, if it is not there or it is there, how you can address with regards to your solution. Just help us understand the business aspect from the operational cost perspective. How important it becomes for any organization when they are adopting cloud. What kind of operational cost aspects they look at, and when the customer is really growing to the scale, to change that operational aspect into something like a subscription cost, so that if they have achieved the scale, they get the advantage of other models of costing which are available in cloud from your perspective, because you have designed your solutions on both models. If you are early in the stage, you can use the operational aspect, but if you are seeing growth in volumes, you could choose different costing model to take the advantage of the cloud.
Definitely. See, let me put it this way: any business or any idea, when you have and when you're trying to drive it, definitely there is a percentage of risk involved in it. Any startup, any idea, you do a SWOT analysis and you definitely find certain weaknesses, certain opportunities, certain threats in the entire gamut of things. How do you de-risk this as a business owner? How do you de-risk this and try to mitigate the entire ecosystem? Is what we provide, along with the cloud, ONGO's methodology of delivery provides. Let me add some more insights to it. Where when you're talking about technology, and as mentioned before, we're talking about there is no right CTO, there is no right technology focus area. That is where your development things can go as long as things, and you eventually spend all your capital expenditure on your technology without having a right product in place. That might be one thing. That is where the risk of development would come. The second thing is, the same thing is applied to the infrastructure as well. The risk of infrastructure, you purchase certain servers and you realize that the servers are not of use, maybe at certain scale. So you eventually end up spending the capital expense. In these two cases is where we are trying to address as togetherness, where you have technology aspect of things can come from ONGO on operational expenditure, and the same is infrastructure can come from cloud provider like Alibaba on a operational expenditure. This involves a lot of de-risking for the business. Your first dollar, which is getting spent, is actually getting spent on your market growth than worrying about your technology or your infrastructure. When I'm talking about cloud infrastructure. So apart from, as a business owner, apart from worrying about your capital expenditure being spent on these two aspects, you have a better problem to solve in terms of business growth, your customer experience. These are the things where the first dollar can go. That is what we can bring. De-risking at the initial stages is very, very important. That is where we can come into play. But as you scale up, you're talking about at the scale of big basket, you definitely need to control your cost. So as we go along, on the technology side and also on the infrastructure side, as you scale up, your operational cost will come down. So that is where there is certain level of maturity that all this ecosystem shows. So you will not get penalized. Let me not use the word. You not get penalized for your growth. We of course go along with you, but we will not be penalizing you for your growth. That is a beauty of this entire ecosystem where we're bringing on. But on the technology side, what we do is we keep a cap on the higher cap. So you go beyond this is actually where we have something called build, operate, and transfer to you, so that you internally can start engaging resources, and as you grow, you maintain yourself. So like that, there's a cap that we keep for ourselves on the technology side. But as operational expenditure is the most successful mantra of any startup in this ecosystem, it helps you de-risk yourself and put your first dollar on the market expansion.
Right.